and beginning to like pay, like focusing inwards, like you were saying at the very top, focusing inwards, then we start to like, even when we're focusing inwards, we can't help but like radiate outwards, right? It's like the inner light starts to glow.
Mhm.
And then it's like the lamp, it's like the
Yeah.
beacon, the lighthouse for others around us.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, actually, I'm just focusing on me. Like, that's what I'm doing. And then other people can be like, I wonder what would happen if I focus on me, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like all of us with our individual lights glowing next to each other. And before long, we know it's a big ass bright spotlight
Mhm.
from all of us doing our own collective work.
Mhm.
And then when we're tuned in, tapped in, connected to nature, I think
Yes.
that's a big thing. Being connected to nature, we're going to get messages because Mother Earth is really the leader here. I think we don't
Yes.
really get that
Mhm.
she's the one
Yes.
running the show. And so if we're not tuned into the land, tuned into the earth, and tuned into what's going on with her, that's when you might get got, right?
Get
Um, okay, don't get got.
Welcome to the Intuitive Wellness Experiment, a sacred space for self-rebellion, intuitive remembrance, and embodied wisdom. This is a podcast for reclaiming your rhythm, trusting your intuition, and living in alignment while embodying cosmic self-sovereignty. I'm your host, Christine, aka the Cosmic Doula, guiding you through soulful conversations with changemakers and solo reflections rooted in intuitive wellness. In this season, we're gathering tools for the revolution, tools anchored in self-sovereignty, spiritual empowerment, and collective liberation. Whether you're tuning in during a personal season of creative fire or a sacred pause, may this space support you in coming home to your own rhythm, your radiance, and the power of your gifts. Take a breath, feel your body, and tune in. Thank you. Robo. Oh, we needed that. We needed that
Yeah.
grounding in this energy. Shasheta's back. Shasheta's back.
Hey.
Shasheta's back.
Go, go,
Welcome
go.
back to the Intuitive Wellness Experiment Podcast.
Thank
I'm so happy to
you.
have you back, girl. We are in
Um,
season 2.
oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you for being with me throughout the whole journey, girl. Like literally being the spark of alchemy. Um, for a big part of this podcast. And I know our conversations, even the first one that we had on the YouTube channel, I think it was back in August during the new moon. It was literally a spark that just kept going and going and going and going and going. And now we're here. So we're going to talk all about it, y'all. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I have Sesheta with me today. And our intention is to actually go back to that conversation that we had in 2023. I can't believe it was 2 years ago, reflecting on the new moon. And if you've listened to the podcast or you've watched the YouTube channel, you've seen we've had a lot of conversations of healing in real time conversations. And that literally was the spark to a lot of what I'm doing and sharing my journey and sharing with others like how we're healing in real time. And that started with you, my beautiful Leo rising, that fire, that fire, that
Yes,
fire.
I love it.
So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that and reflect on that cycle and where we are now, like what's birthing in this new, because we're in Leo season, right? I think we're still in
Mm-hmm.
Leo season.
Still in
So
Leo
while we're
season.
in Leo season, like 2 years later, what's come up and what new spark is kind of being initiated now. And then we'll just see, we'll just vibe and we'll see what flows and how it goes. But I'm just excited to have you here. If we have some newbies coming in, welcome, 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 welcome. Would you mind introducing yourself, and just sharing a little bit
Oh,
about your intuitive wellness journey?
sure. I am Sesheta Weaves, Sesheta Ma'at of Sesheta Weaves.
Come on now.
And I call myself a medicine woman because I feel like I walk with a lot of Ancient knowledge, literally, as
Ooh.
a channel, as a sound healer, as a Reiki master, holy fire, as a astrology aficionado, as a tarot and oracle card reader. I've lived life for almost, well, I'm 48. So I've had quite a few years on this planet to gain some of this earthly knowledge back. And I love that everything you were talking about, Christine, as far as like the reflections and everything, is just bringing up this concept of Sankofa. And already that is ancient knowledge of going back and fetching, like going back and get it, whatever we need. There's nothing new under the sun, right? We can
Mm.
find solutions, we can find the messages, we can find the medicine that we need in so many different places, in so many different ways, if you are open and willing to receive it. So I just consider myself a conduit for that information for those who are open to hearing it from me.
Yes. Oh, which I'm always am. I'm ready to
Right back at
listen.
you, sister.
I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to take in some of the information and messages that you said. And thank you so much for bringing up Sankopa. I think that's such a beautiful practice and ritual, and something I'm rooted in, I'm grounded in, Virgo rising, Virgo moon. But it's really, I find that's where the real true transformation and medicine lies. It's like when you can go back and shine a light on some of the things that happened in the past and weave that into your story as it continues to go on. So thank you so much for sharing all of the magic that you weave into the world, through your beautiful multi-hyphenate rainbows that you do,
I
whether
forgot you had a
you,
beater. I totally forgot that part. It's like,
she does everything. She does everything.
it's like,
What are you
what
on?
do you want today? Exactly.
Yes. So I'm sure she made those beautiful earrings that you see there, which is definitely giving fire, Leo energy. And she is a Leo rising.
Let's
And during
go.
this Leo season at 11:11 my time, I just think it's just, I'm just grounding in this moment how because I'm truly, 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 truly blessed to be in your presence, to be in your radiance, to be in your warmth. And I'm giving gratitude to have conversations like these because being around a Leo rising is a gift in itself. You know, when
Mm.
you think about the
Hi.
luminaries, and I know I'm trying to when you think about the luminaries, you think about especially the sun. I'm wearing my sun pin right now.
Hey.
It radiates out so much warmth, right? And your rising sign is kind of like how people view you, how people see you. And that's how I see you, like just providing and giving so much warmth and vitality to your community and to me personally. And so I just give gratitude for you radiating that Leo sun. But one thing that we kind of talked about, with the, because we're right after each other. I'm a Virgo moon, a Virgo rising, you're Leo rising. And so, and we go through, depending on what house system you're doing, we go through the same transits in the same houses every so often. And just thinking about Leo versus Virgo is I really do see it as, you could think of the one on the throne and the
Hmm.
servant, which we kind of talked about before,
Yeah.
or person that kind of gathers tools, gathers information, gathers those grounding practices to really help the Leo shine. And let me know your experience of Leo rising too. But one thing that I've seen a lot with the Leo risings is that there's a hesitation to shine. It's like I see so much brilliance and so much warmth and energy that they radiate out. And you
Hmm.
get that if you're close and if you're, intimate, but
Yes.
there's not as much like versus a Leo sun. Leo sun is like, I'm here, I'm there.
Right. They can't help it.
Yeah, they can't help it. But with my Leo rising, I'm like, would you get on stage
Exactly.
already?
Get
I'm
from
like
the
pushing
back
them,
and move to the front. Oh my gosh, I
constantly
absolutely
pushing them
resonate with
front.
that.
So can you just speak to that a little bit? I don't think we go here, but I feel like
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I totally resonate with that. And considering getting a little advanced, I also have a night chart.
hmm,
So I have the moon at the top
hmm,
of my chart. So being a Leo rising
yeah.
who is ruled by the sun, but yet the moon is is at the pinnacle of my chart, it really does give like, I'll just stay back here. Don't worry, I'll get there. I'll get there. Don't worry. You go first, right? But I feel like some of it is depending on what else we have going on in our chart, we need to feel safe to be
Mm,
the bright, beautiful lights that we are. Because, and I'm
mm,
getting chills,
yes, me too.
the energy of that solar
Mhm.
luminary is so bright. And sometimes you're very conscious of how bright it is when you step into a space. And if you don't know those around you, if it's not necessarily a cultivated safe space, if it's not, there's a lot of caveats that require a Leo rising to feel comfortable to be their full self. And I
Sure.
don't think that it's I don't know. I wish I could say that all of us have safe spaces all the time, but we don't. And
Mhm.
especially as, a woman of color, a black woman in, this patriarchal society,
Yeah.
a lot of times it comes with a lot to be the brightest in the room. So you tend to temper it and guard it carefully until you know that it's okay and it's safe to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I could see that and I feel that for sure with many of those that I'm connected with in my personal community. And I think maybe because I see that so much because a lot of the Leo risings maybe feel safe within my earthly energy, secure.
Yes, you make us
Um,
feel so loved and
yeah.
welcome and yes.
And so thank you so much for sharing that because I didn't think about that before. So if we have any Leo risings out there, just thinking about your own individual rising signs and literally how you can help support others that come before you or that come after you, whether on the astrological wheel, whether in life, whether in your community.
Mhm.
Think about ways, it's an invitation to think about ways that you can understand yourself, understand yourself, and as well support others around you. So um yeah, I think that's a really beautiful thing. And so now when we talk about the Leo energy, right? The Leo
Mhm.
axis, I'm curious to know your thoughts on the Leo Aquarius axis. Like what do you feel
Mm.
is that axis? Like what is that called? Like I've heard the
So,
Pisces, Virgo being called like the healer. I mean, I feel like they're all healers, but
mhm.
um like, Gemini, Sag, student teacher. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts and what are your feelings around
Well,
Aquarius?
it's so interesting because I know I've heard what that axis is. Like I've heard what people refer to it as, but what's coming forth right now is the leader axis.
Mm,
And
um,
depending on, like, we don't know Aquarians, a lot of my Aquarians out there, they're like, actually, I would rather be by myself, lead my own self rather than lead anybody else. But those water bearers, I
mm,
always tell them that they have direct access to divine wisdom
mm,
and that their whole job is to be sharing that information with the masses and helping everyone elevate to get to their level. And I know that they tend to feel like folks aren't on their level or they just can't be bothered with the humans, right? And Leo, on the other end, while it's more attributed to be the leader, right? Because they come off as, they get the attribute of royal and then the king or the queen. And, you think of the kingdom and literally sitting on a throne. But it's not easy being on a throne, right? It doesn't always work out to tell people what to do. You have to also know how to share your wisdom. You have to know how to invite people into believing that what you are leading them into is actually going to be beneficial. So that's why leader is coming up as a keyword for that access right now.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. What is it? Do you know what the traditional?
Girl, no.
Yeah.
But that is it. That's it right there. Okay.
Right. As of
Oh.
right now, that's boom.
It's the leader access. I love that so much. It's
Mm,
like, what did you say Aquarius was? It's like I feel like Leo is like the public leader, like the one that
yes.
we see. And then Aquarius, what would you see? Like the communal leader or
Yes, they could be the rebellion leader. They could be
rebellion
the right.
leader?
They're leading the masses into rebellion.
Woo! Which we
Yes.
need, especially when we talk about this earth that we're living in now, this world, this timeline that we're living in now. I feel like we have been looking to the leaders, maybe the public
Yeah.
ones
The public
previously that
ones.
was
Yes.
before the celebrities, whether it be
Yeah.
political leaders, those in our community, just holding them, spiritual communities, local communities, just holding them up on a high
Yep.
pedestal.
Yeah.
But now the rebellion leaders are being shaken up and riled up
Absolutely.
with that Pluto and Aquarius, asking for that
Yes.
transformation for a new leader to arise
Absolutely.
in
Revolution. That means like
revolution.
turning that soil and like flipping those thrones upside down.
Now, come on
You know what I
now, come
mean?
on now. That is
Mhm.
beautiful. Thank you so much
Yes. Thanks for
for that
asking.
view. With this past Leo new moon that we had, I forgot the date, but 2025, July 2025
24th, I believe.
was directly opposing, well, I guess it's always opposing, well, it was directly opposing Pluto, with
Yes.
Pluto in Aquarius. And
Yes.
so being side note, I call Sesheta my Plutoista. Being a Plutoista, and having a good relationship with Pluto energy,
Yes.
a relationship, I'll say a relationship.
A relationship with
No,
Pluto.
can you have a good relationship? That's a good question. A relationship with Pluto energy. What do you feel like, and what collectively are you tuning in to? Yeah, like what comes up to me is like what a leader is now, but also
Mm.
I would love your intuitive thoughts on this past Leo new moon and the space where it was directly opposing Pluto. What were some of the intuitive downloads that you were getting around this time, if any?
Yeah, so the first thing, starting with my idea of what a leader is now,
Mm.
I'm feeling like the leaders are us individually in our lives, because we have put so much, like you said, we've put so much emphasis outside of ourselves for so long. And I feel like so many of us are beginning to understand that we've been duped, hoodwinked, and bamboozled, and that they have been purposely keeping things from us. And that would be our power and the power that we cultivate within our own individual selves. And so, as we start within and with ourselves and beginning to like pay, like focusing inwards, like you were saying at the very top, focusing inwards, then we start to like, even when we're focusing inwards, we can't help but like radiate outwards, right?
Mhm.
It's like the inner light starts to
Mhm.
glow. And
Mhm.
then it's like the lamp, it's like the
Yeah.
beacon, the lighthouse for others around us.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, well, what are you doing? And be like, well, actually, I'm just focusing on me. Like, that's what I'm doing. And then other people can be like, I wonder what would happen if I focus on me. Right. And then all of a sudden, it's like all of us with our individual lights glowing next to each other. And before long, we know it's a big ass bright spotlight
Mhm.
from all of us doing our own collective work.
Mhm.
And then when we're tuned in, tapped in, connected to nature, I think
Yes.
that's a huge thing.
Mhm.
Being connected to nature, we're going to get messages because Mother Earth is really the leader here. I think we don't
Yes.
really get
Yeah.
that she's the one
Yes.
running the show. And so if we're not tuned into the land, tuned into the earth, and tuned into what's going on with her, that's when you might get got, right?
You get it.
Um, okay, don't get got. Um, and as for the Leo new moon,
Mhm.
hmm, so I was in the midst of my own. So speaking of focusing inwards, I was in the midst of my own my own transformation. And so much of that transformation, which again is a keyword of Pluto, and having the moon in a solar sign, reflecting, well, not reflecting, actually, it was actually absorbing the light. It was hidden
Mhm.
by the sun
Okay.
in Leo, right? It was hidden. So we talk about hidden, that means emotions are taking a back, can take a back seat, right? So I would definitely say around the time, just personally speaking, around the time of the new moon, I had made some decisions that didn't allow my feelings to stand in the forefront,
Mhm.
right? I was a little less focused on myself as I could have been, right? I won't say should. We're not going to should ourselves, right? But as I've learned more about myself, which I feel like it has been an amazing journey into a deeper understanding of myself. As a 3-5 manifesting generator, I realized that they say as a 3-5 that I fail sometimes very publicly or in view, or it's like something I cannot hide, right? And then I'm able to process, sit, digest, and then share what I've learned from that to hopefully help someone else avoid some of those pitfalls, right? And
Mhm.
so that's what I'm sharing. I took time at a time when I I could have been focusing more on me. I was focusing a little too much outward, right? Getting caught up in that sun energy, facing outwards
Mhm.
and allowing my lunar emotions to hide in the background. And Pluto, what Pluto won't let you do is hide anything,
Mhm.
right? Pluto is like, what's that back there? What you doing about that? Let's pull that out. Let's bring it to the forefront. Let's dig it up. Like, oh, you wanted this buried? Oh, whoops.
Otherwise,
now it's now it's out here for everyone to see.
wow,
And I feel like
leads to transformation.
yes, it almost it forces
Mhm.
transformation because
Forces transformation.
yeah,
Mhm.
because who are you going to be when
Oh,
all
speak
your
on it.
everything is hanging out and you're just bare, you're naked, you're
Mhm.
open, vulnerable, right? And there's no ability to go back to who you were. And so some of us aren't able to do that. They're not able to handle it. But like we said, I have a relationship with Pluto. I am not unfamiliar with some of these lessons of vulnerability
Yeah.
and looking closely at how I may have abandoned myself for the
Mhm.
sake of others, for the sake of appearances, for the
Mhm.
sake of people pleasing, for the sake of not being truthful to who I am, not vocalizing my authentic voice. And sometimes those lessons are easy to get, sometimes they're really, really hard. And so if you are out there and you have been hit with some really, really tough transformation in your face, call those tower moments where things have literally fallen to the ground. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, surrender is a really tough thing, but surrendering really is the only thing you can do. And I feel like that's when you lean into your guides and protections, your ancestors. If you have an altar, if you don't have an altar, if you pray, regardless, is you take that to them, take that to Most High and say, I don't even know what to do with this.
Mhm.
Please help me through this.
Mhm.
Help me see what I'm not seeing.
Mhm. And I think
Uh,
that's what the nodes are teaching us right now in Pisces,
yeah,
in Virgo,
definitely. Yeah.
is we can't hold on to everything and having things, having a clean, neat way of being. We literally need to surrender. literally
Absolutely.
need to surrender to the transformation that is happening, that is forcing us to look inside of ourselves and say, okay, what are the tools that I have? What are the lights that I have that needs to be
Yes.
illuminated in order to get through this transformation? What is it, spirit? Is it tending to my altar? Is it connecting with crystal, connecting with sound, connecting with
Yes.
colors?
Yes.
Whatever it is, we're being asked to surrender and kind of release all of the tools and the things that we were taught to be the perfect
Mm.
person to kind of walk this path of life, being the perfect spiritualist, being the,
Yes.
all of these
Whew.
things. We are being asked to shed. You've been talking a lot in our community about the journey of Anana and
Yes.
how she literally had to shed things to get to see the true
To
essence
see.
of her.
Yes.
And I think that is really powerful and really beautiful. And I just want to circle back around to what you shared about the Leo Aquarius access, and Leo being, kind of looking into yourself and looking into some of those things, and so that into your own inner flame, into your own inner light,
Mm.
so that you can
Yes.
take that and pass that on. I just automatically think of the tarot journey,
Yes.
like right in front of me. Actually, I do have the strength card,
Oh, I love
which
it.
is the Leo's card, right? So
Yes.
that's the Leo energy is going your and finding your own inner light, tending to that light, taking care of that light, letting things burn down if it needs to. If Pluto,
Whew.
is forcing some of that to come up,
Pluto
asking
will
you
burn
to
it down
burn
for
it,
you
will
sometimes,
burn it down
even
for
if you're
you.
not ready.
hmm
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
my
once you have that fire within you, even if it's small, like the next journey in the step is the hermit. So you recognize that, you see that, you've confronted that. Now you need to maybe go into a little bit of seclusion, refine it, tend to it, really get intimate with it so that you
God.
can then when you're ready to come out of the cave and share some of that knowledge and some of that wisdom. And then you get to the 10, which I can't remember what it is right
Wheel
now.
of Fortune.
Come on now.
Yes. That's my card.
So you
And
can
that's
see the
Jupiter
Wheel of
blessings,
Fortune.
right?
The Jupiter, yes, the Jupiter
Yeah.
blessings, the Wheel of
Yes.
Fortune. So I think that's so beautiful when also thinking about the axis, we're thinking about the we versus the we, right? I think that's something that I hear a lot
Mhm.
in the Aquarius Leo axis, me versus the we. What are
Mhm.
my needs? What are versus the wants? And what can I do? What can I create that's good for me that will help the collective?
Yes,
Like you said, we need
exactly.
to get back to centering ourselves versus centering everybody else, especially those leaders and what they
Yes.
need, what they want. But what do I need? What do I want? And what's good for me? Because I know once I tend to that in my seclusion and my space and really refine that, I
Yes.
can then leave. And what does the hermit do? Is shares that knowledge out into the community for those blessings. And it's the
Yes.
wheel of fortune. It's not only your collective, it's the Jupiter, it's like the globe. It's Mother
Yes.
Earth, it's Gaia,
Yes.
And so how can we be a muse unto ourselves to create that emotional solve that we need in order to be that for the group or for the collective, because we are so rooted and sovereign in our own self and grounded in our own self that we are stable enough to be that emotional solve for our community, our groups, and our collectives. And so I
Yes.
think that is really beautiful. And I really do see that as a testament of our journey. And
Yeah.
I really hope it's been inspiring, even if it's to one person, even if it's to our damn selves. Okay.
Okay.
We be looking at these and we be watching like, dang.
I'll be
Or we
like, let
be
me watch this back.
every time we have this conversation, just verbalizing and speaking it out loud in human design, the throat gate is manifestation, is all of those wheel of fortunes, right? You have to speak it, do that Sankopa kind of review and happen. The wheel of fortune keeps turning and keeps turning and keeps turning.
Yeah.
Um, And so, and also thank you so much for sharing that view on the 3-5 and having some of those, oopsies moments in the public eye because they are so influential, I'll say. Influential. I know, especially for somebody like me, where I learned from doing or learning from others who've done it. And it's like
Yeah.
seeing how they have done it. And so thank you for being that beautiful 3-5 example. It may not feel like it.
I was
Definitely don't feel like it.
like, whoo. But
But
I love the fact that it's just a reminder of the humanity and with someone who has such a hard challenge with perfectionism and shaking that. There's nothing like that 3-5 to shake up some perfectionism because it's a very clear reminder to self as well as to others that it's okay to be human and to be
yes.
fallible, and to get down, to fall down. But it's like I heard this, I've heard it elsewhere, but I recently was watching something and they said that it was more about how you get back up. It's not about the falling down, it's
Mhm.
how you get back up. Do you get back up, right? Not giving up, being willing to try again. But like you said, after a moment of maybe hermit nursing your wounds,
Yeah.
taking some time to integrate
Mhm.
and see what you're supposed to learn and then what would be helpful for others if you go out and share what has happened. And so that's really important too, is that I might be saying centering ourselves, but that doesn't mean isolation or being alone, because I'm so grateful for our connection, just as grateful as you are for me. I am equally as grateful for your light and how you have helped me to understand all of this 3-5
Mhm.
manifesting generator energy, how
Mhm.
you've helped me gain other perspectives on my astrological placements, so we have one story that we tell ourselves, but when we share it and, like you said, give it voice and speak it out loud, it gives the opportunity for the Most High
Yes.
through earth angels in
Yes.
front of you to be
Mhm.
able to reflect it back to you and say, well, that's so interesting, but I thought about it like this. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, I never thought about it like that, right? So we don't get stuck in almost false thinking
Yes.
sometimes, right?
Yes. But embodied thinking, experimental
Embody.
thinking, or experimental doing. And yeah, one thing that popped up from our last conversation is that ring of fire energy, that transformation from the 12th house to the first house,
It shows up all the time.
and how it shows up all the time in everything that we're doing. And we're seeing it right now. And I feel like this is the season. This is the Ring of Fire season in this earth right now, in this collective right now, in I'm
Yes.
sure our own personal journeys, because again, the North Node is in Pisces, which is rules the 12th house. And so
Mhm.
we're actually all going through this Ring of Fire moment, really being asked to surrender to the process and in order to rebirth new leaders within ourselves. And
Yeah.
in order
Gosh.
to do that, it takes some of that hermiting, it takes conversation, it takes community, it takes all of that. But through that sankopa, through that refinement, through that reflection, we can birth the leaders that we want to be. I
Ashe.
truly believe this. I really, really,
Yes.
really, truly believe this. And each of us are our own individual leaders versus looking to one modality, looking to one religion, one
Yes.
and to each
Speak.
his own, yeah, to one
Yeah.
institution, one, job. Like
Right.
what is good for you as an individually versus what the collective is asking in wanting from you. We're going from the incarnation course of planning, which is all about building structures and planning and having all the traditional ways of seeing this world, to fucking burning all that shit down and
Yes.
rising in our own individual, own unique, own intimate spaces, fueled by spirit, because this is my incarnation cross. So we're talking about power, we're talking
Mhm.
about spirit, we're talking about
Yes.
intimacy, having
Rising
all
from
of
the
them
ashes. of the burnt structures.
Pluto energy, and the last new moon was also conjunct Lilith, which we've also kind of journeyed with and discussed a little bit. So bringing some of that information and some of that um, energy into the conversation as well, because as divine feminines, feminines, invitation, and I'm sure we got to have you back to have a whole Lilith conversation. You know what would be cool to have like a Lilith Anana discussion.
Ooh,
You've been
yeah.
diving deep within Venus, and then I
That
can
would
maybe
be
talk about
dope.
the art dark side of it, which
Mm,
Rashka Gal I also feel is like very closely linked through Lilith energy. So that would maybe a conversation for another
absolutely.
time. I think
That
that
would
would
be
be fun.
so fun. Yes.
So we talked last, I don't know how long we've talked right now, but I'm trying not to make this too
For
long.
long. Yeah.
But this is what we do, okay? We are ASMR.
I know.
If y'all
Buckle
can
up, y'all.
listen, y'all can fast forward if you want, speed us up, pause us, come back later, but we are
Go to
gonna
the
get ready
chapter that most inspires you first. You already
because
know.
I'll put those in, so no.
I know you gonna hook it up.
But going back to our last conversation, I just really, and just thinking about healing in real time and all of the, work that we've done from 2 years ago, how our relationship has blossomed from 2 years and what we've created together and separately. I thought it would be cool for us to go back and revisit some of the gates that were illuminating during the new moon and kind of see where
Yes.
we are in the process in the lunar cycle as a little
Mm.
cosmic check-in point. And then I have a little tool for the revolution that we together have and can work with each other. And then I will leave the people with that. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Let's
Okay,
do
cool.
it.
So the new moon was August 15, 2023, and that's when we shortly after I feel like we had our conversation, and the moon and the earth were the sun and the moon, excuse me, because it's a new moon, was in gate 4.5. And so the affirmation, the sun representing in human design what you share with the world, the moon representing what drives you. And the affirmation that I came up with it being in gate 4 is that you hold the power to birth new solutions through your unique heart answers by harnessing the healing powers of forgiveness to formulate an idea. Tap into your youthful joy to help you let go of the mind clutter in order to discover your unique heart answer. So, how do you feel that you are in this cosmic check in point from where you were maybe 2 years ago to where you are now? And I'll just start by saying I would think it was so interesting because I was doing my own Sankalpa work and looking back and, all the notes that I have. And we actually had a conversation around this time about potentially starting a Mystic University. And so I thought that was interesting when going back. I'll leave it there, but I just wanted to share that with you.
I am not surprised at all. I am not surprised.
I
That
wanted
is
to share that with you because gate
so,
4 is all about formalization, right? Formalizations of ideas, harnessing powers of forgiveness to harness and formulate ideas, to tap into that youthful joy, to let go of the mind clutter, to discover your unique heart answer.
oh my
So, thinking on that, where are you now?
oh my gosh. So the first thing that came to mind is inner child
Mhm.
love. And that's actually big Leo energy too, is inner
Huge.
child. And
The fifth house.
yes, and Tanya,
Mhm.
she is alive and well. She's always alive and well, but I feel like we have a better understanding of each other than we
Mhm.
did 2 years ago. And I was just at the beginning of really understanding that journey at that time. And since then, I feel like it's been leaps and bounds. And one of the things that brings my inner child joy is learning and
Mhm.
deep diving into all of these systems, modalities, and the occult, the spiritual gems that we find by digging, like Pluto, deep into old ancient ways to see the connection to what we are living right now. So, oh my gosh, all of it. It totally resonates.
Yeah, totally resonates. That's a beautiful reflection, that inner child. And it's like that sun being what you share with the world. I feel like there's a newness right now of you bringing that little Tanya out in the
Yeah.
world in different expressions. You know, we kind of saw it through her peep through during the Venus in her story camp,
Yes.
and you know what came through and how that really drove you with the moon, right? What drives you? It's like what drove you to formulating new ideas to what you've
Exactly.
cultivated and created in community, within our community. So I think
Yes,
that's a
I
beautiful
love that.
reflection.
And through that, I was led to do the Venus
Hmm.
Chronicles.
Hmm.
So, and I don't, can't remember if I had started or if it happened right after, but because it was right after the retrograde. So it was like I knew I was thinking about it. But then after doing the camp, I feel like I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to do it. And I'm going to bring folks with me because I was going to do it by myself. And then I was like, you know what? Just
It's
invite other
that
folks
five
to watch
energy
me do
coming
it.
through because the gate was in
Yes.
line five. So look
Wow.
at that.
That's crazy. Like,
So beautiful. So beautiful. So talking about Venus, you know, in human design, the Venus gate is values, like what you value. And so the affirmation there, gate 7, line 6, know your worth and the power behind your throne. Allow yourself to be seen as a leader and as a wide shepherd, guiding us towards an ideal future. And you doing that, showing up, right? And that five energy
mm,
is now you're able to role model that within your community through that story, through the Venus story that you're doing
yes.
in a leader, as a leader, in a leader, in community, as a leader, and is so powerful behind your throne. So,
Shay.
any
Oh my goodness.
reflections on that?
Just like I just have a sound. That's
One day I'll have like an editor that'll be able to do that.
exactly.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so I'm just putting the pieces together too. I'm just like, look at this. Look at this. Okay, so bringing it
Wow.
back down because we're like
Yes.
ground in the energy. We're
Grounded. Yeah.
grounded in the earth energy, right? That's the earth energy. And it was in gate 49, line 5. So gather different perspectives to invoke a revolutionary shifts, knowing sacrifices will be made in order to stand in your power versus conform. And
Woo!
your values and stand in your heart's truth while trusting the process and its timing. Can we be grounded in that? Grounded in, okay, honoring those different perspectives.
Yes.
But guess what? It's lighting up. It's firing some of those revolutionary shifts within me.
Yes.
And with each revolution, we know sacrifices got to be made. But
Absolutely.
what we can do is stand in our own truth and not
Yes.
conform, but stand
Yes.
in our own individual truth to embody the values of our heart's truth.
That is so beautiful. And I also, what I think of is, within the Venus Chronicle journey, at first I was like, I'm leading it because I'm bringing people together, but it is so much about the collective voice
Yeah.
and sharing and folks sharing their own perspective. So when you said like letting go and allowing for other perspectives to come in, and just the idea of grounding in that, and also sitting in it and trusting that trusting in the process, right? Trusting in the process, not knowing what is happening, not knowing how it's going to go, but just trusting that it's going to work out because you're leading with your heart's truth. Woo! Oh my gosh.
I'll make sure that I put these affirmations in the show notes somewhere or following up with a Substack of all of these so you guys can sit with these information too and maybe reflect back to see how your journey has transpired 2 years ago to what was coming up in during that new moon phase. So Mercury is in Leo right now, currently in its retrograde journey, and
Yeah.
Mercury in human design shares what you're here to communicate. So the affirmation here is to ground in your body, to calm your mind in order for you to gain awareness regarding the next step. So grounding in your body to calm your mind, to gain awareness into your next step. Hold on one second.
And talking about that gate.
Sorry, y'all. We had a little interruption from Peace. Thank you, Peace, for gracing us.
Yes, we had a little inner child.
Grounding in some peace, but life goes on, the show goes on. So thanks for being
Yes,
patient with us. But I think we were talking about Mercury retrograde and what we're here to
yes.
communicate and grounding in our bodies to calm our mind in order to focus and gain awareness for our next steps. So, is there instances where you've maybe done that to recognize, to trust yourself and to realize you have your own best interest in heart?
Oh my gosh, this is like, I've been in some intense therapy
Mhm.
since the beginning of July. So, yes, this resonates a lot. Because, my therapist specializes in somatic therapy as well as family constellations. If y'all don't have ever heard of that, it is very much about your body and being embodied and how you're breathing, how you're processing things. And for me, as a somatic practitioner, with sound healing, being in my body can be challenging, believe it or not, because I'm an air sign. I'm very fired up by mental activity. Like I said, I love to learn. I love to be here, there, doing all kinds of things, but needing to sit still and be still and ground, literally ground, like with my feet on some earth and breathe and center. And yes, all of that is part of me learning to trust that I have the best answers for myself, because I can still doubt that, it still shows up, and I don't know. I hope that one day that won't be an issue. But as of right now, I know I do have tools to help me to get outside of my head, get set outside of, you know, looking outside of myself, to get outside of looking outside of myself and embody grounding by literally sitting on the earth or
Mhm.
putting my feet on some grass
Mhm.
and breathing.
Yeah. And that helps you communicate out the message a little bit more clearly, a little bit more potently.
I would have totally.
That to the fact of where it hits, it really hits. And it was in line 3. So experimenting with it, like what grounding practices work for you? Is it a crystal? Is it
Yes,
earthing, like you talked about, having your feet on earth? Is it sound? Experimenting with those different ways to know when you have that right message from your heart to
absolutely.
communicate out into the world, because we know once we do, that sets the manifestation out into motion and
Yeah.
allows the universe to take it from there. Um, so that's
Yes.
really beautiful. The last one is Mars, and Mars in human design shows your passion, desire, aggression, and potential immaturity. So it sometimes shows where you may have been immature. So the
Mm.
affirmation around this, gate 6, line 1, is realize the right way to create intimacy and who you create intimacy with. Through that realization, we can then tap into the ability to solve conflict immediately with an emotional awareness that drives us to be the catalyst for growth and transformation.
I love that. I love
So 6 being intimacy, 6 being that line of intimacy. Well, 59 is really intimacy, but it connects and makes the channel of
channel.
mating, channel of intimacy. So realizing the right way to create that foundation of intimacy. and who you want to create it with, because we know it ain't safe to create
Right.
that.
You can't be,
And
yeah.
consent is very important
Yes,
in intimacy in those relationships. But how can
absolutely.
we use some of that to drive our passion, to drive our desire, in order to resolve conflicts potentially, to gain some emotional awareness, in order to be, I'm thinking about that Mars warrior for
Mhm.
growth and transformation, to be that catalyst for growth.
Absolutely. And I feel like sometimes, Mars also can be, speaking of that immaturity, that conflict, right? Energy of, you know, perceiving or um, wrongly perceiving animosity or need to fight or need to protect yourself. And that is only going to cause you not to be intimate with others, right? It's like you're going to cause blocks or, you know, create issues in situations where there may not be issues. And so it takes a lot of maturity, I
Yeah.
believe. And so that's really hard, especially when, we're animals. And
Yep.
so sometimes those animalistic tendencies, depending on our trauma, depending on what we're still working out, it can get triggered by things. And you may not even know that you're acting out of trauma as opposed to actually receiving something, right? There's a difference between getting, oh, I feel like something's off, and then just you're acting out of a traumatic response.
Right.
So that's where the maturity comes in for sure, so that if you've chosen the right person, then hopefully, right? Like, I know that if you're having an issue with someone, if you feel like there's something's been off, sometimes it could just be you got to check yourself, right? You got to check and see where is this coming from. And then if it's the right person, then you follow up and have a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
talk about it.
About it. Have a conversation, right? Talk about it. Get to it. Get to that intimate point to where you can um, really create something even more beautiful, right?
Exactly.
With that other person, through communication potentially.
Yeah.
And I know last time we talked about the 59 in the channel of mating. And I feel like, you can correct me and if I'm wrong, but you were
Mhm.
saying that your conscious and your unconscious Mars activates this channel.
Yes, it would activate it.
Mhm.
I'm
The
pretty
channel of
sure.
intimacy. So
Well,
when we're
I
talking
literally have my Mars there. Yes, this is my challenge and my blessing here.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the channel of mating, we're talking about a tribal circuit. So that means that it's here to um, serve the tribe, to help provide the needs, the wants, for the tribe. So the theme is really deep and emotional, energetic intimacy that leads to creation, which we talked about, creating something beautiful, whether it be actual children, which this gate definitely does,
Mhm.
art, ideas, or soul growth healing. It's really meant to create, right? Through that deep, energetic intimacy. The shadow of this energy is emotional distortion and the pressure of immaturity, like we talked about with Mars,
Mhm.
and codependency. So those
Mhm.
are things that we need to watch out for. If you have this channel, which both Shishetta and I do, the channel of intimacy, so that means the gate 59 as well as the gate 6 is activated in your chart. But the gift of this, moving away from codependency, moving away from intimacy, really leads us to honoring sacred timing,
Mhm.
creative fertility, energetic transparency, and revolutionary healing through the right closeness, through the
Yeah.
right intimacy. We can
Oof.
have all of those, all of those, all of those. So, just really quickly talking about some of the tools that you have for the revolution
Mhm.
with your conscious and your unconscious Mars being activated by the 6 and 56 channel. It
Yeah.
really shares that, like Mars is, you have this like emotional intelligence connected to your drive, right? Which I'm sure you feel. But it could be a struggle to feel like when you're ready for to activate that intimacy, to activate that Mars, because there really needs to be that type of emotional connection, that emotional readiness within yourself and with others. We talked about feeling safe.
Yep.
So that really, when we're talking about intimacy, you need to feel safe in order
Absolutely.
to
For
be
true
intimate
intimacy. Yeah.
through
Yeah.
intimacy. So it may come up as warrior energy, which I definitely see you as, but warrior protecting your own boundaries in intimacy. So knowing when the emotional door is open for you to be intimate and when it's not. And
Yeah.
so, how does that feel as a tool for the revolution activated in your unconscious and conscious Mars?
Mm. So I feel like combined with all those other things we've been talking about, using those tools to ground and to tap into what is right for me is going to always help me know that that emotional intelligence is pure
Mm.
and that what I'm receiving is actually right. And if it's not, it's going to be clear too. Either way, it's going to show up and I'm going to know. And I also feel like when you know the relationships that feed you, you know the relationships that are um, the partnerships, not, it doesn't necessarily have to be, sexual or, it can be
Mhm.
platonic, it can be sister, it can be
Mhm.
whoever, it could be literally like you're saying, it could be a medium, it could
Mhm.
be, the thing that you're choosing to be intimate with to create the art. So knowing those things that work for you, those people that work best with you, I feel like when if something's off, if you're not getting a clear message, if I'm not getting a clear message, I know that that's where I need to check in.
Yeah.
I need to say, hey, or maybe it's spending more time with that medium. Maybe I need to, play bowls, just play for the heck of playing without worrying about what I'm actually creating or
Yes.
having an end product in mind. I know they always say that. It's just like just play. Don't think about what the result is going to be.
Mhm.
That's literally what I would say is the example of that. Just
Mhm.
playing for the heck of it, not for a reason, just for me.
I love it.
And one of the things that just reminds me, someone told me is like, if I play for myself, that's exactly what everyone else needs.
Mm.
And so that is an example again. It's like being
Leader.
intimate with me, with myself, with my inner child, with what works best for me, it's automatically going to be best for everyone else. And so that in itself, all of that together will help me be in right timing and then just trusting that when I know, I know.
Hmm. Hmm. And when
That's
it's
it.
time to take the throne, it's time to take the throne, to take the
Take the
seat,
throne.
to be that Leo, to be that Leo that I'm
And be upfront.
supporting you to be. Be upfront, be upfront. And so it's so interesting for me because um 59 is in my incarnation cross and it's my personality moon, but it's also my design earth. So it shows up on two sides of my chart, and this is the gate of intimacy. So I really see this playing out with my moon on how I feel nurturing and how I feel safe and emotionally connected in different
Yeah,
relationships like this.
right.
And knowing what that means to feel whole when I can
Mhm.
like actually drop the veil and let somebody in deeply. Like that's super nurturing to me is to like intimacy in all deep relationships. And in order for me to be intimate with somebody, vulnerability and reciprocity needs to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm vulnerable. The other person's vulnerable. We see each other. There's a equal exchange. Um, and with it being in my design earth, this is how I ground is through
Mhm.
intimacy, through sexuality, through all these things. And it's in an energetic transparency too. So it's like I have to be okay with that. Like, I know that I really do feel like, and I have come to terms with this, like my own sexuality and what that means. I'm excited. In August, I'm going to be doing a book club read with Adrienne Marine Brown's book, the Intimate, I forgot what it's, Activist, something like
Mhm.
that. But I'm
Oh, yes.
super excited to, I'll make sure that I
Oh,
drop it in the show
yeah.
notes, but to read that because I feel like that is a true part of my identity. And the thing that I have in Leo, the only thing that I have in Leo, because I have like really hardly anything in my natal chart that's Leo.
Hmm.
Um, I have like zero fire in my chart besides my IC if you're looking at all the big planets or places. But the one thing that I have in Leo that I've been studying and I've been journeying with her is Vesta. And Vesta and the
Mm.
the virgins. And I'm seeing
Yes.
how they were so like their sexuality is so potent to the medicine that they carry.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I'm literally working with Vesta right now and
Love that.
her sacred flame and what she's showing and what she's illuminating within me, which is so what I'm seeing now, so closely tied to my design earth gate and what does
Yes.
sacred unions mean, whether that be with my partner, whether that be through partnerships, whether
Right.
that be through a medium that I'm using, like this podcast, in order to share, my vulnerability with, the collective and what can that bring as a grounding frequency for the earth that we are in right now. And with
Yes.
6 being my design south node, it's also about mastering energetics of boundaries and emotional openness from past lives because I've been
Mm.
scarred there in past lives
Yes.
or in my
Right.
earlier life.
Yes.
And now I'm evolving into have more discernment within those sacred unions because I'm bringing some of the energy with me into this lifetime.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
and so those are tools that I'm using, this podcast being one, me being so vulnerable and intimate with you all. I hope it's safe to do so. That's very um, high priority on my list to do so, but I feel like that is truly a tool for the revolution as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for listening because I could talk. So this relationship dynamic, I think, is a revolutionary activation of what it looks like to create intimacy, to have creative intimacy. I
Yes.
really do feel that. Like what we started, we initiated in that Leo new moon, being vulnerable and sharing what it looks like to heal in real time
Yes.
was a revolutionary seed that we planted to what the potentials are to be creative leaders, to have creative intimacy. So we're teaching each other how to feel safe in our own truth, in our own radical intimacy, to create vulnerability and honor the timing of emotional readiness.
Yes.
So I hope that this has been that for you all. This podcast episode has been that with you all. It's been such a pleasure to be intimate with you in this way.
Yes. Thank you. Oh my
And
gosh.
I just adore you and all that you do and will forever prop you up to the flame that you are.
Love you so much, sister. Oh my gosh.
Tell us what you got going on, what you've maybe birthed recently, what we've maybe birthed together, that
Yeah.
is available right now. And it's so interesting because I pulled a card for us, and I have to hide this in case you guys are watching.
You're a little slow in the hiding.
Birth.
Oops.
It's called birth. Talk about intimacy, a little
Beautiful.
crazy there.
I love it.
But I thought this was a beautiful thing because what was initiated, the seeds that were planted,
Yes.
something has recently been birthed. So
And the
share
ring
with
of
me what you
fire.
got. What you got going on, what you plan, how the people can follow up with you, support your work, support your mission, support you being a
Yeah.
3-5 leader.
Oh my goodness. Well, you can always find me at my website at www.sheshetaweaves.com. I'm hosting sound baths, reset and renew. They're a little sporadic right now, but I do have one happening on 7/31. I don't know when this will air. You might have missed it, but that's okay. Check my site for the next one. But I'm really, really excited that along with the Cosmic Doula
Mhm.
and with our other sister, Sia, we have
We'll have her
birthed,
on soon.
yes, we
Hopefully.
birthed an ebook
Mhm.
called The Moon Child. And it is a guide to tuning into your inner child, helping you raise the little ones that you're raising, and understanding all that that means. So I'm sure the link will be included in the show notes. You can click and you can go and you can explore. But it's really a guide. It's not something that I feel like you need to read cover to cover. I feel like it's one of those resources that you hold on to and you use for time everlasting, because you're always going to meet someone who has a moon sign and has a moon child, and it can help you understand just if there's someone you want to be intimate with, if you want to create, whether it's idea babies or physical babies with them, so yeah, it's our offering to the world, to help begin this healing, and especially to reach the babies within us,
Mhm.
and those babies that some of us have birthed, and that
Mhm.
some of us are shepherding, even if we haven't birthed actual children. So
Yes, so we'll
yeah,
definitely make sure that we put that in the show notes. And with that, with your purchase, you'll have access to our Rooted Radiant Rising portal and within
yes,
Notion. And it has lots of tools and guides to support you in your journey as you reparent yourself and reparent your children, whether they be physical children, ideas, creations.
yes,
And you'll also stay tuned there to what we may be having coming out in the future. So that ebook is just the seed that will blossom
yes,
into more and more and more and more. So we
just the
invite you,
beginning.
just the beginning, to take a peek at that moon guide. And I thank you once again for being with us on the
Thank
Intuitive Wellness
you.
Experiment podcast. I love
Love you too, sister.
you. What a beautiful episode with my dear Sesheta Weaves Rainbows. I hope you all enjoyed that intimate, illuminating conversation. If you are listening to this in real time, we are transiting from the Leo sun into the Virgo sun, into Virgo season. And before we leave the Leo sun, I just want to remind you of this. Remind you of your own light, of your own power, and to be courageous to step in that. And I thought it was a beautiful, Nelson Mandela's inaugural speech in 1994 is a beautiful reminder of that. So I will leave you all with this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated by our own fears, our own presence automatically liberates others. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Intuitive Wellness Experiment. May you continue to trust your rhythms, honor your intuition, and gather tools that liberate you. If you're feeling this journey, share it with someone you love or subscribe on Substack to stay connected. That's it for this episode. Keep listening to your body, keep trusting your path, and remember, your intuition is the revolution. Your wellness is sacred. Merci beaucoup and merci en pile. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time.